The year is 2012. The place, Watkins Glen International. 3 drivers are in a dead heat on the final lap, battling for the win. But how did they get to this point and in this position? How did these 3 guys wind up here? And how did this moment set up to possibly change the tides of a season and even a career? Let's take a look. Starting off, we have the 3 players. There's Kyle Busch. Today, he's known as one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history and a dominant driver at that. But in 2012, he was still climbing the mountain of competition. Many fans just saw him as a petulant brat after a horrid end to the season before. And while 2012 had started off well, a string of races from Dover in June through Pocono in August saw him only have 2 top 10s. And this was a 9-race span that saw him drop from 8th in points to 15th. He would be gunning for one of the 2 wildcard spots in the chase for those between 11th and 20th with the most wins. It was the only way he could compete for the championship. He'd roll off from the front row. Starting from 5th was another player, Marcos Ambrose. Ambrose was another driver vying for a wildcard bid, but he didn't even have a win yet. He also was the defending champion of this race, though. He would be the favorite for the win. And then there's Brad Keselowski in the Blue Deuce. Keselowski was only in his 3rd full-time season in Cup in 2012. After impressing in 2011, he basically backed it up with a strong start to 2012. Heading into Watkins Glen, he sat 7th in points. He needed to still solidify his spot in the chase, but he was in a good spot. He'd roll off from the 4th spot. Starting out, Kyle Busch sped off at the lead, trying to knock as many laps off the board as possible in the top spot. Talented road course driver and pole sitter Juan Pablo Montoya quickly followed behind him, while Keselowski and Ambrose maintained 3rd and 4th spots. It would remain this way for over 20 laps until the 9 came down pit road for a green flag pit stop. Keselowski followed suit on lap 24, while Kyle Busch continued to lead until the first caution of the day, brought out by Jamie McMurray's McDonald's Chevy crashing into one of the barriers. This would benefit the 2 and the 9, as the 18 would soon need to pit. While the others could stay out, they would be caught up in track position. Seeing this, Busch would pit under caution, giving up the lead for the first time of the day. Ambrose and Keselowski would use this to get the lead for themselves and run off from the pack. Busch, meanwhile, needed to climb through traffic. At the same time, the only threat to the big 3 up front, Juan Pablo Montoya, fell off the pace and out of contention. At the same time as those as well, Ambrose was looking for the lead. And for laps upon laps, he dogged the 2, and the whole time, the position just didn't change. It took 10 of the race's 90 laps to finally make the move stick. Unlike Keselowski, though, the yellow 9's lead expanded quickly instead of staying the same. At the same time as well, behind them, Kyle Busch was all the way back up to the 4th spot. Adding to everyone's desperation, the threat of rain was coming in as well. After all, the race did pass the halfway point, so they didn't have to have it be an official race. Cup didn't use rain tires at the time. So the end of the race was also a partial mystery. At lap 47, Ambrose drove down the pits for service again. He was on a 3-stop strategy, while Keselowski and Kyle Busch were looking to be on a 2-stopper. At lap 58, the Motor Light Dodge headed down the pits for what looked to be his final pit stop of the day. And with that, once again, Kyle Busch assumed the lead into the last third of the race. Now, a lap later, the 2nd caution of the day flew for Denny Hamlin blowing an engine. At least his DNF was better than the one from the year before. But the caution gave Busch and Ambrose the chance to stop like Brad K. With the restart, KB and Ambrose went on the charge. But just as the action started to get good, another yellow came out for the late Jason Leffler's car being stalled near the bus stop. The caution would be a bit extended as rain began to fall on the track, and with 22 to go, they finally went back racing. And they were really racy. A little too racy for Tony Stewart, but his wreck set up the finish. Keselowski, Ambrose, and Busch were once again 1, 2, 3. Kyle Busch had the power move into 1. With 16 to go, he sat atop the catbird seat again. Ambrose, in 3rd, seemed to be losing handling, as did Keselowski, who tried to keep up but just was not quite quick enough. It was Kyle's race to lose with 15 to go. But heading into the last 10 laps, things started to get weird. With 7 to go, Dale Jr. randomly spun out of the 10th spot after running well all day. And then, in the last couple laps, cars all around were just sliding more than normal. With 3 to go, Joe Nemechek then started inching his way to the pits and threatened a caution. And with 2 to go, Ambrose slid out of the groove, giving Keselowski second after being clearly faster than him. Something was just off. And then Kyle Busch began to bobble like he was out of fuel, heading to the white flag.
I don't know if he's bad or if he thinks he might have a flat tire or something like that. He's really moving the car around. It doesn't look very stable right now.
1 lap to go. Kyle Busch, defensive line into turn 1.
There's something wrong with the 18.
Now Ambrose trying to get second from Keselowski while he tries to get the lead from Kyle. Contact in the S's.
It's right. Got it.
Dangerous spot on the track for Kyle to be sideways. Looks like he gets off to the guardrail. No caution yet. Here's the race for the lead.
Keselowski's got damage on the left front.
Is the tire going to make it all the way around? And will the 9 help him?
Oh,
everybody's in the grass.
No, you're clear. Dig.
That might have been the race right there. We'll see. No, Keselowski's slower. Keselowski's got a problem. Trying to stay with Ambrose. 2 final corners. Do they use the bumpers? A nudge, a push. Can Ambrose save it? To the checkered flag. Who gets here first?
Clear.
Ambrose, 9. Keselowski, 2. Final corner. Marcus Ambrose is going to win at Watkins Glen in a remarkable last lap turn of events.
Winner of the NASCAR Cup Series, baby.
Ambrose managed to get the win in a sloppy finish. The messiness wasn't due to poor talent or poor driving though, but instead, because as it was later shown, oil was dumped all over the racetrack by Bobby Labonte's ailing 47 car. Busch got caught in the oil more so than the others. Keselowski then got also caught up in it, and because of having no grip, ended up turning him. The damage he got in the exchange gave Ambrose enough added advantage to get past the 2 and have the far superior car. Keselowski seemed to be okay with this thrilling conclusion, though.
I got in the oil and would slip up, and he'd get by me, and then he'd get in the oil and slip up, and I'd get by him, and just really good, hard racing. So beating and banging, I think that's the way racing should be. It's great to race against guys like Marcus. Thanks, man. It's great to race against guys like Marcus that you can rub on, lean on, and they don't lose their cool and just intentionally wreck you. That's what racing's supposed to be right there. A good driver with a little bit of bumping and rubbing, but none of that intentional wrecking BS. Marcus is a class act. That's the way racing should be.
The win was Ambrose's 2nd in a row at Watkins Glen. It would also, though, be his last win in Cup. After 2014, he was out for good. Kyle Busch ended up 7th. While being wrecked sucked, due to the wreck in the final corner from Jeff Gordon, he would jump up in points and be ahead of one of his wildcard rivals. Unfortunately for Busch, though, he would end up losing it back to Gordon and missed the chase by 2 points. He has not missed NASCAR's postseason since. Then there's Brad Keselowski. Keselowski really solidified his spot that day into the chase. With that, he used it to build upon, and going into the chase, looked to be the guy who could go toe-to-toe with Jimmy Johnson. And not just toe-to-toe, he ended up winning the captain his first Cup championship. To this day, he is still one of NASCAR's perennial favorite drivers. And with that, we end off. I want to ask you, where would you rank this finish all time in NASCAR great finishes? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. And if you really like it and you're already subscribed, you can join the channel memberships option. It would really help the channel out. So until next time, have a good one.